Hey, what's up? Welcome to the AV Club podcast. My guest today is Matt Wilson. Now, Matt used to be my boss. I used to work for Matt in Marble Falls at a company called Austin 360 Photography. And at that place, we became friends, man. We became friends. And so it was cool to have him back over after not working there for a while and really just chatting as friends and getting to catch up. He's a business owner, and he recently went through a little health and fitness transformation that has really flipped his whole world and his attitude upside down for the best way possible for him. And so I was excited to get to talk to him about that. And not only has he changed mentally, but his physical appearance is way different from the last time I met him. And yeah, he looks great and he's doing great. And it was super exciting to hear him talk about the positive things happening in his life. So I hope you guys take away something from this episode, and here's Matt Wilson. We're rolling.
All right, we're live.
We're live. Cheers, man.
Cheers, brother. It's good to see you.
Thanks for the beverage, man. Yeah.
It's good to be in the Georgetown area.
Dude, the Georgetown area is awesome.
I didn't realize you were over on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're like, I think if you go south, we are maybe 5 minutes from...
You know, the first thing I thought of when you sent me that address, right? And I saw the Google Maps above you. I would never live here.
That's hilarious.
That's the first thing I thought of.
One of those house farms.
Oh, it's great. No, but I love the house. It's great.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's cool, but we're I think our lease is up on the 31st of July.
Yeah.
So we're all trying to figure out what to do next. So
they're gonna let you renew, or they're gonna jack up your rent like everyone's doing in this crazy housing market.
They're pretty cool about it. I think though, if we were to stay, they'd let us at the same rate. But I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing yet. We're all kind of trying to figure that out, you know, because we're still young, but we're getting to the point to where it's like our own separate paths are. You know what I mean? So, which is a really good thing. I think it's a great thing, but we're trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, I just closed on a house. Finally.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal, like walking around and just being like, this is mine. This isn't like someone else's house that I'm taking care of right now, you know?
Wow.
It's a different feeling for sure. But it was a stressful process.
I bet.
If anyone ever buys a house, just be prepared to take a lot longer than what they say it's going to take, and then for you to be really frustrated with sending things that you've already sent them before.
Yeah, man. That's weird though for you, especially because you know a lot about the market and a lot about the industry.
Yeah.
And then, like the role was flipped all of a sudden.
Well, a lot of it had to do with there was the underwriter for my loan wasn't even in the state.
Oh,
so
wow.
a lot of the times, like if you work with a big box lender, then you're going to deal with people that have no idea who you are. There's no personal connection for you. So, and they just do this all day long. So you're just like a line item on. Yeah. So they just keep. Yeah. They just are like, okay, I need this. Well, it's like, I gave you that.
Yeah.
But they don't remember you at all because you're just some.
They're just wheeling and dealing all day. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You're like a number on the list, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll need this. Yeah. That's wild. That's a bummer, but you're in, right?
Yeah. All in. All moved in. Yeah. It's been incredible.
What's the biggest difference between, like, is it just a feeling you get knowing like it's ownership now? Yeah.
It's like I'm paying for my own equity at this point, and I'm not paying for someone else's equity in their home or apartment complex that they bought with someone else's money. Right. Too.
Dude, that's awesome. And how close are you to the water out there?
I am 2 blocks from Lake LBJ.
That's so cool.
So I'm right next to a little place called Tropical Hideaway.
Okay.
Which back in the day used to be like a grill and a beachside thing, like a Boat Town Burger Bar on Lake LBJ now, but now it's just like condos, and they used to be vacation rentals, but now it's just like people that want to live there.
Yeah. So. Wow, dude, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's freaking cool, man. So, I've known you through two different places before this one.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So, I was at that tiny little apartment when you first started working there. That's right.
Did you tell me that was for like older folks? You just were able to get in there, or was that?
No. Just to clarify, I did not live in a senior community. I did not weasel my way into a senior community. No, it was They were just little condo garage apartments.
That's cool.
And
that was cool though.
It just happened to be that a majority of the people that lived there were old.
Yeah.
I told you about how I met my neighbor, right?
No.
Dude, so I walk outside one day and I'm getting in my car and this old lady comes out of her apartment.
Yeah.
And she's like walking slowly, like partially because she's like being timid, but also because she's old and she just can't live there. When she goes, she's like, "Excuse me, son. This is going to sound really weird and it's really embarrassing, but I fell asleep in my recliner last night and I think my dentures fell out and fell underneath and I can't find them. Can you help lift up my recliner so you help find my dentures?"
Did you find them?
Oh, yeah.
That's sick. That's cool.
Then she baked me cookies.
What?
That's my story.
Dude.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate your time. Matt, first of all, I've known you for probably a little over 2 years now. 2019-ish, summer of actually right around 2 years, right? Yeah.
That's right.
And dude, when I met you, you didn't look like what you do now.
Yeah, I'll send you some pictures to put up for posting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I've actually I had a kind of come to Jesus meeting with my personal health and fitness, and for the last year, really, I've really just completely changed the way I eat, completely changed the way that I rest, and the way that I de-stress myself, and the way that I get active.
Yeah.
So it's been just a total mindset and body change, but mindset comes first, of course. Yeah.
You're building new habits, and dude, it's paid dividends for you, man. It's not like, so before, it's not like you were a bigger guy. You're like what, 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah, I'm 6'5".
Okay.
But I was 270 at my height.
Yeah.
At my heaviest, my fattest.
Right.
But like people would tell me like, "Yeah, you really carry that well," and it's like, no. No.
Yeah.
Like I look back at pictures of me then, and I'm like, no. There's like people were being very kind. People were very, very kind.
Yeah. Well, you're always your toughest critic on yourself. But,
yeah.
But like, no, you were, so out of honest, from my opinion, you were a big guy. Like you were hefty. And I'm like, I would say, so there's like stages, right? Everybody has, there's so there's like chubby, there's like fat, and there's like obese.
Right.
I would say you were fat. You weren't chubby.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You weren't obese.
More than chubby. I was more than chubby.
You were fatty, but
chubby plus.
Yeah. Yeah, you were extra chubby. But yeah, dude, you were like, and you really didn't, obviously your body wasn't meant for that, and you could tell, like, and especially I've seen pictures of you in the past. I knew you were like a skinnier guy, and then like seeing you, and that was just how I knew you. That's the Matt I knew, and so I was like, oh well, he just, it looks like Matt. He looks like Matt. And then I saw you again like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, holy shit, dude, you're getting after it. And so what did you do? First of all, when you were big, when you're fat Matt.
Let's call it Fat Matt.
What were you not doing, and why weren't you doing it? Why do you think that was, like, in that?
Well, I think it all started with my mother. No, no. Really, I think a lot of it had to do with just bad habits of the bar scene starting in late college, where we would just go sit down at a bar and start drinking beers and have appetizers. For some reason, like Applebee's. Oh, I know I was, because all of our friends were like waiters and bartenders at Applebee's in Temple when we were going to UMHB. And so this was right around when they was doing $1 Budweisers and $2 Long Island iced teas. Like they had to have armed security.
That sounds dangerous.
They had to have armed security at Applebee's in Temple.
Whoa.
Because people were getting in fist fights drinking $1 Budweisers.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Savage.
$1 Budweisers? That's insane. They don't even sell water for $1 at most places. Like currently, that's awesome though. That's cool.
I don't know how they make the math work, but it worked. But no, so I think bad habits started there, where it was just, get used to drinking a lot of heavy beers. Yeah. Get used to eating a lot of fried foods. Not really taking the time to have any type of good physical exercise. Got away from like stuff that I like to do, like hiking, lifting weights, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so just getting back to walking every morning was the biggest step of taking that first step. Like I had to just start walking every morning, because that's really all my body could handle. Because I mean, you remember us like trying to work out, and just me trying to get on the bike was a chore.
Yeah.
And I was hurting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people don't realize is that you don't have to start, you don't have to go from 0 to 100, literally like in a day. You build up to that. And like you said, you started walking, and that's how you transitioned into now, which you're probably running and lifting weights, and you're probably doing anything you want to do now physically.
Yeah. Like no more back pain, no more hip pain. Like I'm all loosey-goosey and limber. And I mean, now it's trying to work out at least 4 days a week, going to just lifting weights.
That's very realistic.
Yeah. Like the program is 6 days a week, but it's just almost impossible to make that happen 6 days a week.
With your schedule and everything, that just life.
Yeah. Yeah. But then also, go to the track and just try to spend like an hour at the track walking and running. And more so than anything, it's what I put in my body.
Yeah.
That is the biggest factor in how my outward appearance.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's the diet change has been the biggest thing. Taking away fried foods, taking away most carbs in general, knowing what time of day to do that.
Yeah.
Skipping meals when I need to. Learning what actual hunger is versus, hey, this is the normal time you eat. My body's telling me, hey, put some fucking food in here.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a big issue I feel like people have, and especially like in college when you see the weight gain. A lot of people experience weight gain in college. That's why they call it freshman 15, and you never really seem to lose that in college unless you have a friend that's active, or unless you hit a wall, like a breaking point in college, which seems to be like no, most people don't. Like even me, like I've had a lot of friends in college that I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's kind of eating like kind of whatever he wants to. That's pretty wild. And then you see like a picture on their Instagram, and it's them in high school like a year ago, and they're like a totally different person. They gained like 30 pounds, and you're like, whoa, man, like you need to slow down. It's hard to say that to people though, but like it's just something that people don't catch for some reason. Which,
well, you kind of feel like it's almost like you're in a fog of just bad decisions. Yeah. And it just keeps compounding on itself because that's all you know. Like momentum is very, very real thing when it comes to your diet and your exercise, because it can be either you're rolling downhill the wrong way or you got the momentum going uphill and you're doing better. Yeah. Like, but it's very real both ways. Like you can get drugged down and get really unhealthy very quickly, or you can really, really ramp up your stuff and your physical fitness and actually have some progress. Yeah, and
it's really what it boils down to is that first step, that mental click in your mind that says, hey, you're not optimal. You're not feeling as good as you could. You're not looking as good as you could, and something needs to change. And then it's about building those habits, right? Because it's so easy to I think it's just almost natural for us to develop these unhealthy habits and these bad habits in terms of our eating, our fitness, because it's kind of what we're born into. It's what we know. It's what we're taught. It's what we're trained to just do. And then breaking those habits is the hardest thing. And then developing the new ones is an added layer of toughness. And then right now you're at this point clearly where it's like, okay, I know that I was in those bad habits. They're gone. I'm building these new ones.
And then reinforcing it and making sure that they never go away.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of bad habits, it's like even just little thing, not just the diet, like bad habits of like I've bitten my fingernails since I was 3 years old. Yeah. And this sounds weird, but I went and saw a hypnotherapist to go to take a look at that, and it took one session. And
wow,
I have not bitten my fingernails at all. So if anyone wants like this, I'm not sponsored, but Austin Hypnotherapy Solutions, if you're wanting to stop biting your fingernails, go see Pam. She's awesome.
Dude, that's really cool because I have always noticed you bit your fingernails, especially when you're stressed. Like I've noticed that because I've been around you in those stressful situations.
And it's anxiety based. Yeah. Anxiety, stress and anxiety were the things that were the most crippling things for me. And recognizing what those are, like the way she explained hypnosis was like really an eye opener for me. Right. Like it's not going to sleep. It's not any of those things. It's really just being so relaxed that you can actually speak to your subconscious mind and tell it what to do. Wow. Never heard of that. And that's really how she explained it to me. And so it's really, you're just in a state of relaxation. You don't feel like any type of like transcendental, like psychedelic, anything like asleep. You're not asleep by any means. You're coherent. You hear, you're aware. But you're just, all your stresses have gone away, and it's just the fog has gone through, and you can speak directly to something that can affect some change in your life.
That's interesting. I've never heard it from a perspective like that. I guess I've never heard it from a hypnotherapist, and you're relaying the word. So, when you think about hypnotism, yeah, you
like cluck like a chicken,
Yeah, and you think of like go to sleep and literally move
or Office Space,
Yeah, you think of all this crazy stuff, or like where the
watch, yeah,
they hold the watch and you're getting very sleepy. But that's cool. That's super interesting.
Yeah, I would suggest it for anyone that has issues with anxiety, or especially if they don't want to deal with medication or anything like that. That's a good first step to go to, because it's like $100.
Oh, that's not bad.
To just go to a session and take 2 hours of your time to learn some things about yourself.
What drove you to that decision? Like, how do you come to the conclusion like, oh, I want to go see a hypnotherapist?
Well, it really was. I had done some research on, because I was sick and tired of biting my fingernails.
Yeah,
sick and out. I had tried everything. My parents used to put like jalapeno juice on my fingernails, like when I was like 3. Mm-hmm. But it just made me love spicy foods at a very early age. Like all sorts of stuff. I mean, putting Band-Aids over my fingers when I was younger, but I'm just take them off.
Yeah.
Bite my fingernails. And so I noticed that it was because I was nervous or anxious, and and really what I wanted to do was tackle the sub problem, because the outward manifestation of that problem was something that I didn't like. Right. So it's like I can't just stop biting my fingernails until I fix what's causing me to bite my fingernails.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So
before getting into this healthy routine, this fitness and this lifestyle change, I know personally that you've experienced a little bit of like anxiety and depression and all this stuff. Yeah. How has it cleared up since like just the weightlifting and the eating right and like the treating your body better? Has that helped it at all?
Yes, that in and of itself has been very much like raising the tide for all of that, and just make it easier to just go about your day. Like good endorphins from working out. Everyone knows that's something you're going to get from that. Yeah. There was some stuff that I had done in addition to that just recently, honestly, that kind of put me over the edge to really, and pardon my French, but it's like taking my give a fuck-a-meter down to like completely zero. Yeah. Zero anxiety with anything that I do. Like no bad thoughts for anything. Just like very coherent. But I tried magic mushrooms. It was really something that I thought a lot about. I did a lot of research. I read a lot of books, listened to some Audible books about psilocybin. Yeah. Listened to some stuff from, obviously Joe Rogan and then Jordan Peterson. Yep. But also looking at some of the studies that were done by, there's a gentleman, I forget his name, but he's one of the head researchers at Johns Hopkins. And he is one of the only people in the country that have gotten federal funding to research psilocybin and its effects on PTSD, its effects on depression, its effects on anxiety, all those basically the litany of things that I had wrong with me. Right. And in reading that, I was like, this is something I feel like could be very helpful and very therapeutic. And I was absolutely right. It was one of the craziest, most profound experiences I've ever had in my life.
That's amazing, dude. Mm-hmm. You see, I eat magic mushrooms every morning and I don't ever feel the effects. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, some people, different strokes, different folks, man.
No, man, that's awesome. And I've never personally experienced with that, but I have heard a lot of that stuff.
It's definitely not for everybody. It's not something that I'd want to do a lot, or it's something that it really is. It has its place in its time, I think, for people, because it lets you step outside of your consciousness and really examine who you are without any of the other stuff that comes with you being you. Yeah. Like you can actually pinpoint yourself as yourself. It's hard to explain.
No, I understand. I've heard a lot about that also. And actually, Joe Rogan just had a guy on. They're talking about how they're using psilocybin to experiment with PTSD. It may be the same guy you're talking about, but this was like very recent, a couple days ago. And yeah, man, like it's just a weird thing. Like if you have this thing that could potentially help thousands if not millions of people, why hold it back?
And like the microdosing, I'm sure you've heard of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like the microdosing in and of itself, it's like that is it's hard to describe unless you do it. It's hard to describe the type of uplift that it gives your whole psyche for the majority of the day if you do it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's just like it's a good day medicine is really what it is if you're gonna microdose like that.
Yeah. That's so interesting, man. I mean, maybe eventually I'll experiment with it, but
I don't think you need it right now.
it's not something I'm like super eager to try, but it is very interesting to like just the research that's been done on it currently and the effects, the positive effects that it has. Because it has literally cured people of PTSD.
Yes.
And which is insane.
In
like,
one therapy.
Exactly.
One treatment.
Yeah. And so I just think that's powerful. Like it's...
Well, what really kind of interests me is the psychedelic monkey theory. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Where they're talking about the apes that roamed on the savannah in Africa that were basically our ancestors, possibly could have by happenstance discovered consciousness because of psychedelic mushrooms that were growing naturally.
So wild.
Yeah. And if you take them, you can understand why, because it's the whole nature of that drug is that it makes parts of your brain communicate with each other that usually don't. And it just makes for some interesting thoughts.
Yeah. And isn't psilocybin the same I heard Joe Rogan say this once, but he doesn't like calling stuff like that drugs.
No, I wouldn't call it drugs.
I mean, like, yeah, because I don't remember his reasoning, but it's good because I think there's a negative connotation to the word drug, and so like when you're using stuff like that,
unless you're Pfizer,
right?
Which probably still a little two sides of that coin too.
That's funny, but basically that you're able to see another dimension almost, like, and this is like. I think he relates it to aliens or to, I don't even know, but I don't know. What was your experience like though? Can you remember like after, like, so, first of all, how long does it take to kick in? And
so mushrooms are weird because you get in this mental state of when you first take them, like you get excited, like, oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's see what's going to happen. Yeah. What's going to happen? Oh my gosh. And so you kind of psych yourself out and think that things are happening when they're not. And then there's this moment where you're just like, oh, okay, it's kind of working now. So that's the best way I can describe it. It's like there's no set time because it's like there's this little window where it's like you don't know if your mind's playing tricks on you yet, or you're just like putting yourself into a place where
you want
think, it. Yeah, you want it. Yeah. And so that's always kind of weird to navigate. But once you're there, you're there. Right. And I mean, it's different. So it's wavy the way that I would describe it. Like at the peak of the wave, like there were times where like I would be watching a movie and like the people's skin would be like moving around, like it looked like there was a layer on top of the movie, almost like an oil painting, or like a watercolor kind of effect that was just kind of moving around on every color and just moving around. That's like visually, that's one of the craziest things that happened. But also, like I would play music and play guitar a little bit and just
that's cool.
And it just things were connecting in ways that I just had never thought of before. Like I felt like it wasn't me controlling my hand playing the guitar.
Oh wow. And
I was watching this other person do it. And I had no control over what I didn't know what was coming next, but it was just going. So that was really weird.
That's cool, man. That sounds cool. I mean,
yeah.
Where did you ever at any point freak out, or did you ever were you pretty calm the whole time?
No, the whole thing about it is the mindset going into it dictates your mindset throughout the experience. Yeah. So you're happy and you're excited, you're going to continue to be happy and excited.
That's good.
Everything's going to excite you. Everything's going to be awesome. Everything's just going to be like, oh.
Man. So.
But after that, and then what you'll notice is that those waves will start to get like shallower. Yeah. And then Like you think you're fine, and then you look at a painting, and then the painting will start, and then you're like, oh, it's back.
Does it last for a certain amount of time, or does it just vary by person?
It does. So it does vary by person. But if you're gonna take a dose that makes you hallucinate, you're probably gonna hallucinate for probably 4 hours.
Yeah. Wow, that's a long time. Is that about what you were experiencing? Yeah, 4 hours.
It took about 4 hours just on an afternoon in my office, or not my office, at my house.
Yeah. How crazy is that while you were doing mushrooms in your house, like your neighbor was just doing the normal thing, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too deep right now, but it's like, it kind of shows how small we are as people. Cause
our
like
little
right. Like
fiefdoms.
It's so crazy. Cause you were doing, mushrooms in your house, and then nobody around you ever knew unless you told them, of course. But it's like,
right.
And
it's just one of those things where it's interesting to talk about it out loud now, because it is for me, it's a thing that I want to do by myself.
Right.
And I want to be away. I turn my phone off and just kind of, because it's something you're literally diving inside your own mind and experiencing in a way that you hadn't previously. Because every single time you do it, it's going to be different.
Yeah. And that was your first time?
No, actually it wasn't.
With this, I guess, obviously it was your first time with this kind of intent. And
yeah, exactly. That's the better way to put it.
This kind of experiment, right? But so what changed for you? Like what turned on or turned off in your mind after this? And
well, like we talked about downstairs before we started, like the best way for me to describe it is like a deep scrubbing of my brain.
Yeah.
Like I feel like my brain, like all of the crap, all of the negative emotions, all of the anxiety, it's gone. It's removed. And I feel like a different person.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm on a different level of just contentness, just being okay, and just not worrying about things, and not stressing about things, and just letting things be okay.
Right. What's wild about that, Matt, is that I've known you for a decent amount of time, and
that's not the way I was.
No, that's not what I was gonna say at all. I was gonna say that you've always been like, dude, you've always been one of the smartest people I've ever met. Right. Very intelligent, very ambitious in all your endeavors, and like you could always tell there's just one thing like kind of holding you back, and whether it be that stress or that anxiety or whatever it was, it's like, you always could tell, like from the outside looking in, it's like, okay, he's a solid guy, but like if he wasn't to have those burdens on his shoulders, like I wonder what he could do. And so that's pretty exciting, man, to see like what is going to come of this, because I know, knowing you have a great heart, you're a great person, very generous, very giving, and just a great guy all around. Nothing but good could come from this, in my opinion.
I agree. And I feel like I am more centered in my faith. I am like, it's almost like best I can describe, it's like a transcendental experience in my psyche to discover happiness. Yeah. Like, and just be okay with being okay.
Yeah. That's great, dude.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride.
That is a wild ride, man. Let's take it back a little bit though. I want to take it back to the fitness part, and the more specifically, I want to take it back to what you've been eating.
Yes.
What have you been eating?
First thing I did was I cut out as much carbs as I could, and that's been a big help. I went on kind of a modified carnivore diet.
Okay.
Which and stacked that with intermittent fasting.
Ooh, nice.
So I went pretty balls to the walls with that, and I was doing 20-hour fasts. So I would basically have a window I would get done with working out around 4 or 5, and have my protein shake to break my fast after a fasted workout, and then eat and the protein shake would be an entire avocado, 2 scoops of protein, and an egg.
Okay.
And then from there, wait about an hour, maybe have a handful of nuts for a snack in between. And then for dinner, I'd typically have like a ribeye steak and some broccoli. Okay. And that's what I would eat for the majority of like every day.
Yeah.
Almost every day. And so I've been slowly adding things back in as I've lost more weight, and I'm kind of in that phase where like I do want to gain a little bit more muscle mass. So I've added a meal back into the day, and keep my protein levels up a little bit more. But really just tracking and being able to understand how much energy my body needs versus how much I'm putting into it has been really big for me.
How are you tracking? Are you using an app?
I made something in Excel.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You just made your own little sheet?
Yeah. Well, I made a calculator in Excel where you put in your height, your weight, and your
What a Matt thing to do. That's
and
hilarious.
Your height, your weight, and your age, and it gives you your BMI, and it also gives you your resting metabolic rate.
Yeah.
With whatever equation that I read online and copied and pasted
right.
into Excel.
Yeah, dude, that's the most Matt Wilson thing I've ever heard in my life.
But it's great because I can adjust every week. I weigh myself every morning, and then I can take the average of that every week.
Yeah.
And put that into that equation, and that gives me a goal for every day. Yeah, for every day, and then I can adjust accordingly.
That's awesome. That's really smart, actually. I've never heard of that before. Usually people just use the MyFitnessPal. You know what the thing is that people don't know where to go. So like, I remember Daniel telling me, he's like, dude, how do I know how much to eat? Like, because we're never even taught that ever.
So
anywhere.
Think about it. Yeah. Well, if you get your baseline, and then I made it really simple because I'm eating the same damn thing every day. So as long as you're eating the same thing and about the same quantity, and you're using the exact same amount of and you're doing the same workouts every day, then you'll know, if I'm within baseline of being in a deficit or being in a surplus.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to get to like 10. Find that exact percentage that I'm below. I just want to make sure that I am at a moderate caloric deficit, working hard, and I'm not too much to where I'm just getting tired. Because there was a point where I wasn't eating nearly enough, and I was working out really hard, and like I got so tired, like it made my blinking slower.
Really?
Like it was weird. Just
like exactly. Really delayed blinking. That's crazy. How'd you realize that? Did somebody tell you?
Yeah. Well, I was sitting at the house. It was in the afternoon, and I was just like tired, and I shouldn't be tired. I was just tired from not having food, which is a different kind of tired.
Yeah. Okay, that's wild. I've as you probably know, Matt, I've never been the one to undereat. So
no, you have not.
I have the opposite issue of most people, where it's like, I have a really solid understanding of what I need to be eating, what times I need to be eating, how much I need to be eating. But I just am like, you know what? F it. I'm going to eat all of it. I'm going to make a thing of chicken. I'm going to eat all the chicken. Why not? So that's my dilemma right now, which is annoying because we just got back from our trip, and we had some pictures of Taylor and I taken over there. Daniel took some pictures of us. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, these are cool. The edit's cool. The scenery's cool. And I'm like, dude, you look the same as you've always looked. Like, why? Why do you look the same? You know exactly what you need to be doing to change, and you don't do it because you have these mess ups. We did a wedding the other weekend. Yeah. And I'm not kidding you, they had fajitas, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm just gonna have a plate. And then I had like 2 plates, and then they had sopapilla cheesecake, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have like 1 or 2. And I had legit probably 6 or 7 slices of that sopapilla cheesecake. And then my brain just goes on this little like just freaking rampage, and it's like, okay, I know you're full, but have you tried the cake yet? Have you tried the cake? It's lemon. And I'm like, I haven't. You're right. I haven't tried it yet. I'll just have 1 slice of that, and then maybe I'll try the little things, the little other dessert cupcakes they have. But that's just how my brain works, bro. It's not though. Like so like this is my point. Saying after all this, whatever this ramble I just went on, but you changed your mindset from like not. You didn't even overindulge, like not to my knowledge, because I remember eating out at restaurants with you, and you never would like. Oh, I would honestly eat your leftovers sometimes. And
my problem wasn't that I ate too much. My problem is that I ate a moderate amount and I didn't do anything.
Yeah. Plus beer, right? Beer has a lot to do with the alcohol. But my issue is that I just go on a rampage. But anyways, that's the thing. It's like I like to I claim to be a guy who's very into health and fitness. Right. But then after seeing your transformation, and even if you're like, you look great now. What are you weighing right now?
213 to 216.
Okay. But you're also 6'5". That's probably very close to the weight you're supposed to be at for your so like
I went down as low as 206, but that was bad, like not eating enough. And I that's when I kind of realized I was like, man, I need to add a meal back in, and I'd rather feel better than weigh less.
Yeah, yeah. Because at the end of the day, like I've been told that, and I believe this. I truly do believe this. It doesn't really matter what the scale says. Like, for example, we have, we know that a guy in Marble Falls is that jack dude. I think Engel, right?
Oh, Nick, yeah.
He's probably, according to the scale, he's probably obese.
Yeah.
But he's jacked and shredded.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Me and a friend of mine talked about that the other day. I talked about him specifically because he's just a freaking meatball of just muscle.
Dude, he is. He's jacked. Shout out to Nick Engel, man. I don't even know him that well.
ATX Physical Therapy, hashtag.
Hashtag. Yeah, I'm trying to get him on eventually. One of these days he'll come on here.
I'll talk to him about it. I'll see him probably at the brewery this week, and I will mention it to him.
Do it, dude.
Tell him to come on.
I would love to talk to that guy. But anyways, like, my whole point is, like, if somebody who's in a way where, like, so that's not even the point I'm trying to make. My point is, it's easy to get in these bad habits, and it's easy to say, you know what to do, and you're healthy, so
it's easy to justify your bad habits.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. It's easy to justify it. So for me, overeating is like, well, I'll just work out harder. Yeah, which is never going to happen. Like, you may
work out the same hardness.
You may work out harder, but it's like it's never going to equal the amount you eat or the amount you put in your body. And so I realized that recently too, and I'm like, man, I got to step up my game. Just not even because you were coming in the studio, even though that is it's motivating, right? It's motivating. Your transformation is motivating, and it's very inspirational. And I just got to step my game up, man. I look the same since high school. That's not true, but
you got some meat on your bones there. Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to get the meat off of my bones though. Dude, I'm like, I go on these highs, and then a weekend will hit where like a wedding comes, and then it just spirals, just like we were talking about.
If you can give yourself 2 weeks of doing consistent intermittent fasting, then you'll give yourself a good base of being able to continue that for a long time.
Yeah, I agree.
And even just doing 16 hours. So like 16 hours is, and I'm sorry if my math is off on this and I'd say totally wrong times, but like if you stop eating at like 8:30 and then you have a late lunch, like starting at 1, there you go. Like that.
And I've been doing a light intermittent fast, and when I say light, I mean it's not 16 hours. It's I'll start eating at, depending on when I go to when I go to the office or whatever. It's I either eat at 12 because I got to leave by 12:30, or I'll eat at 11:30 because I got to leave by 12. So it's usually that, and then I'm done eating by 8:30 at the latest. So and it does help. It's the difference that it makes just doing the intermittent fasting is insane, and you never would think that not eating is what the key is to more energy.
Yeah,
and just a better attitude throughout the day.
Have you ever done a monk fast?
No, I don't know what that is.
So it's...
Gotta shave my head?
Yeah.
I'm not shaving my head.
All right, well, sorry. We can get you like a turban or something, a different kind of monk.
I'd wear a turban.
There's all sorts of types of monks. No, so this is, you basically eat dinner.
Yeah, I love that.
And then you don't eat for the entire day after that.
Okay.
And then you eat breakfast the next day, the day following that.
So dinner,
36 hours.
Dinner, no food, breakfast. You done that?
A couple times, yeah.
How is it?
So once you get past the halfway point between your first lunch that you're missing and your first dinner you're missing, that's when your mind kind of really switches and you really start getting an energy boost. Because it's the natural way that our bodies were designed as hunter-gatherers for hundreds of thousands of years, to eat as much as we possibly can and then go for long periods without eating and then go find our food.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, because you talk about 300,000 years of doing that versus agriculture being around for 11,000, 12,000 years maybe at the latest. Yeah, man. It's not enough time for us to have all of our food systems just congeal to that type of eating. Yeah. And be used to that, because our bodies just aren't used to that. We're used to storing fat from eating carbohydrates in the fall to then burn through the winter. Right.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I've done the fasting thing. I've done a hard fast where I wouldn't eat. I'd wait till 1 to eat and then be done by like 8:30. And you just feel good. You do. It does take a little bit to adjust, obviously, just like anything else you first start. Like the first day you'll probably be hungry and you'll probably want to eat, or at least think you want to eat. And if you just push through that, then you'll be fine.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, it's the difference of being hungry and your body just saying, hey, this is when I'm used to you eating.
Yeah, exactly. And your stomach actually starts to shrink a little bit, and you're not going to be as full. I mean, you're not going to be as hungry.
Right.
So it'll take less food to make you full, which is essentially like the key to losing weight is not eating as much food. Right.
Who'd have thought?
Just boiled down. It's so bare bones basic. Yeah, man, it's so freaking cool. I'm so glad that you've done this. Not like for yourself mainly.
Yeah.
But then also it really is an inspiration to other people, man. I'm sure it's like, because I know you got a pretty wide friend group, and I'm sure somebody's going to notice. And that's not what it's about, but dude, it's going to help. It's going to help others too.
Well, I appreciate that. And you know, if anything, if I can just help me like be better, like that's enough.
Yeah.
Like because I needed help. I needed help at one point.
And you admit that, and you took care of it, man. That's so freaking cool, man. That's so cool. It's cool to say that. It's probably even cooler for you to look back and be like, dude, I've battled, I've fought, I've struggled, and I'm here. I'm still here. I'm still kicking, and I'm winning right now. I'm winning the fight. That's freaking cool. How has this affected your work life? How is this like? Has this brought a ton of energy and a ton of focus into your work, and has it like ramped up, or like what's the deal?
Well, it's definitely helped for energy level and ability to get the job done in the field. Like if I'm out on a photo shoot somewhere, it's a lot easier for me to get around. Obviously, I don't have an entire tire hanging around my waist anymore.
Yeah.
So just the freedom of movement that's given, and the ability to get places that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get to, just from lack of physical fitness.
Yeah.
Like that's been a huge help, because like my job is conducive to moving around, and especially, you know, like twilight shoots can be very like stressful, where you have to get from one side to the next. You only have a 5-minute, 10-minute window to get to one side to the next to get to the right shot that you've been planning. So just that has been very helpful. But then the cognitive side, very much so too, because it's like just the stress management. It's like it's not even the stress management, because there's no stress to manage.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's made it a lot easier. It's made life better.
That's good, man.
So I would suggest anyone just go start lifting weights if you can. Just pick heavy things up and put them back down.
Yeah, and also take a handful of mushrooms.
Well, that's a side point, but that's that was a cherry on top.
A handful of magic mushrooms a day, and that's all you need. Dude, this stuff is good, man.
I agree. I think we should pour just one more little bit.
I'm down. Everybody, this is the sponsor, Buffalo Trace.
Yes, sir.
That'd be crazy.
Say when, sir.
Dude, just give me the same amount you got yourself. That's perfect. Yes, sir.
Oh, we tripped it on the table. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man.
Poor table.
Dude, so hopefully there's been a little bit of delay in the process, but I'm supposed to be having a table made.
You told me about that.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be having a table made. There's been a little bit of delay. I guess the guy doesn't have a trailer to pull it anymore. He did, but his partners.
So the trick to these things these days is you just have to say that it's COVID related, and then everything's fine.
Yeah.
Any delay, you just say, hey, it's COVID related. And
that's true. That's a good point. No, actually not anymore, dude. COVID's going away. Not really, but it is. It's like the flu now, which is good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. It's cool having it's so weird how all of a sudden we had to wear a mask everywhere we went at all times, and then now it's like, oh, I don't have to wear this anymore. And so like now I'm starting to forget it in other places, because it's just so natural for me to not have it on.
Right. Well, I mean, you and I were working together when shit first hit the fan.
Oh yeah.
And you know, for those of y'all that are watching that don't know, like we used to do real estate photography together. So we'd be going into people's homes, and people would be flipping out if you didn't have gloves and a mask and booties on and don't touch anything, don't look at me. It's
kind of nice though. Kind of nice for a little bit, because I was like, all right, if this isn't ready, then I'm gonna take a photo anyways, and it's your fault. But yeah, man, it was crazy times. Like so much was up in the air, and
the fact that we were able to stay busy through all that and just kind of put our heads down and be able to be kind of the minority people that were working during that time, I feel like it's just a very hidden blessing
Oh yeah,
we
it's
had
a huge blessing, man.
yeah.
We were able to do a lot during that time, and it almost ramped up. You could say like the work almost
It really
ramped
did.
up.
And a lot of it had to do with, I mean, the fact we sell virtual tours.
3D tours, yeah, 3D
And
tours.
people did not want to be in person for anything for a good 3 months in 2020.
That's weird, and even like the whole thing looking back is just super strange.
Mm-hmm.
What a weird time that was. I mean, it was like a lot of personal growth happened, and for me personally in my life, and just things kept moving. Thankfully, nothing. There wasn't a lot of things that just came to a halt, you know, and so it was a huge blessing in that aspect. But it was just a super weird.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely brought out. It was very polarizing. That it brought out the best in some people, and it brought out the worst in some other people too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that actually. So COVID is the reason why I have my home gym. None of the gyms are open. Mm-hmm. Remember, we were in Marble Falls. We had one kettlebell each. Daniel and I had purchased our own kettlebells, and then we like got bored with kettlebells because we had been doing them for a while, and so then we started running. So we did all that jazz, and then whenever
You ran your marathon, right?
yeah, I got canceled though. We didn't actually run it. Obviously, can't COVID. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's so dumb. I was like, I didn't really want to do it. At first, I did, and then it got midway, and then I was like kind of bored. I was like, I want to lift weights. I want to do what I was doing beforehand. Mm-hmm. Tired of running, even though it was cool. I enjoyed it sometimes.
I can only do running if I'm doing sprints. Like I can't jog. Like I will lose my mind if I'm just sitting jogging for 45 minutes.
Yeah. So the crazy thing is, it's almost like going on a fast when you're running.
Yeah.
You like hit that certain,
it's a mental thing. Yeah.
You hit a certain point, and then your brain's just like, oh, this isn't that bad. And then you could start thinking about anything and everything, and your mind is kind of like, it's blank, and you're able to think about specific things very like attentively and like in depth. So you're like,
never gotten to that point.
Dude, I know, and I hadn't either. Like it takes a while though. It takes a while, and it's not for everybody. Like not everybody has to run. It's just not super important for everybody to run. But anyways, COVID got me my home gym because I was like, I need weights. So I like I Facebook Marketplace the weights. You know, I was looking for them.
Oh yeah.
And then we have a group Facebook page for our community here in this neighborhood.
That's awesome.
So then I just posted on. I was like, hey, is anybody selling weights? I'm looking to buy. And guys told me all the weights I have in there. I'll show you after, but it's like $200. And this is like in the pandemic, like
when everything was the most expensive.
November, December, and I think like it was right when things were all starting to shut down, or like had already just been shut down. Mm-hmm. And this dude was like, "I'm just trying to get rid of it, man. I gotta have room in the garage for the neighbors to come over and party." And I was like, "All right, I'll take it." So he sold it to me for $200, and then like the next day or the next week, I was like looking up like other stuff, and it was all like $2, $3, $4 a pound for weights, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good for a while." So, dude, by the way, speaking of home gyms, do you plan on getting a home gym sometime, or is that maybe not?
I've thought about it. I've priced some stuff out. As of right now, I just it's so funny. Like the guy that lived in my house before, actually built a pull-up bar in the backyard.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He cemented 2 4x4 posts and put a bar at the top, and then there's a push-up bar at the bottom too, so I can get out there and do that. But he also built a dip bar.
What?
Right out there, yeah. And then on top of that, he made some concrete barbell and dumbbells. So
whoa, that's kind of cool.
So he made a mold,
yeah,
concrete, almost like a bucket size, like think of like a sand bucket size, mm-hmm. and molded each side, and it's like they're hilariously oversized for how not heavy they are.
That's funny.
But I've got 2 dumbbells that are
that's dope,
made out of concrete, and then
that's
one
really cool
barbell that's over there, and then I bought an exercise tire.
Okay.
A dude just delivered a giant tractor tire to my house, and get up every now and then and just go flip that 4 times and go do some pull-ups.
That's cool, man. That's really all you need. Have you ever done the Murph workout?
So no.
Okay.
I do know what it is though.
Yeah.
Some buddies of mine, mutual. You met Sean? Yeah, we went to Port Isabel together. Yeah.
Yeah, Sean the fool.
Yeah. No, he was bragging about him doing the Murph on Memorial Day when he got up and did that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that happening.
I can't do that. No, I'm not there yet. Not yet.
Dude, if Sean is there, you're there. Let me tell you that.
Sean is a former college athlete. I am not even a college former mathlete.
No, that's not true. You are a mathlete. You're a genius, bro. So I got these like nasty calluses, and this is by no means a brag or any sort of.
Oh yeah. Them deadlift calluses.
I got it blistered like that, and then it peeled, and so like I had a chunk of skin missing.
Yep.
And it's just not healing over. But dude, I really think you could do the Murph because it's like you're able to modify when needed. And so a couple of like the last couple sets of the pull-ups, I had a rubber band, and so you put it on your knee.
Yep.
And the
I've got one of
resistance,
those.
Pulls you up. And so I had that for the last couple sets. That was like a true testament to me of like, okay, this old school method of no weights could probably get you pretty jacked. Like maybe you're not gonna get huge, like you're not gonna gain mass,
you'll get lean,
but you're gonna get lean. You're gonna get strong. Like you're gonna be able to throw your body weight around and anybody else's body weight that's similar to yours. Dude, it's cool, man.
Well, for me, like I feel like I needed to get rid of a lot of bad weight first, and then kind of put on good weight, and then get in the weight room and really do a good bulk for a little bit, and then maybe do a calisthenics workout after that, because I feel like there's some truth to like, yeah, I would be able to get lean, but like there's only a certain amount of muscle that I can put on by only using body weight. Right.
Yeah. 100%. Because you got to have that hypertrophy, and you got to push your body to gain muscle. You got to break it down. But what kind of workouts are you doing now that you're?
I try to keep it really simple. I'll do. It's typically Monday through Friday. I try to be consistent and at least do it every day. I've been hitting like 4 out of 5 days. Most weeks just because schedule's crazy. But push pull legs.
Nice.
So the first push day. I don't have a workout partner anymore, so I can't even do barbell bench press at heavy weights because I don't have a spotter.
Yeah.
So I'll just modify and I'll just do dumbbell bench press. Like typically my main lifts are going to be 5x5, and then ancillary stuff is going to be like 8 to 12x4.
Yeah, that's about what I'm doing right now. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I think I really like the push pull leg split because it just makes a lot of sense. It gives you plenty of time to recover, and it gives you plenty of time to hit all the body parts multiple times a week.
Yep.
And you can go hard. Like you actually can go hard on all of it, and not like, because whenever you're doing these like true bodybuilder type workouts where you're like arm day and then back day, you're only hitting that body spot once, that body part, and it's just like to truly grow it on like a very just general and basic level, like your average gym goer, that's not really enough. Like it, I mean, in terms of getting your physical activity in, but in terms of growing muscle,
you have to get to a certain par before you're able to just take every muscle for itself and have its own workout.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so
that's there yet.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I did the single body part a day for a while, and I had just never really put in the research or the effort to like, do more or to consider other options. And so I wasn't really benefiting. Like my chest would get stronger, obviously, because like, chest and arms are the muscles you probably work out the most, like most people, right? The show muscles. And it's like, that's not what's going to give you the better body or to give you the aesthetics that you're looking for.
Yeah. And if you're lifting and you're not eating right, then you're just gonna be big and fat, not just also big and strong and fat. Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever channel Arnold when you're doing your workouts?
No, man. I try to keep Arnold out of it because that is a whole nother level of no.
Get to the chopper.
No, so like Arnold is just on a whole nother level of life than most people. Like if you ever get into like the fact that he was a millionaire before he was ever in a movie because he bought up a whole bunch of real estate with the money that he won from Mr. Olympia stuff. Like his whole story behind that, like he's on another level. Dude, Arnold's crazy.
Very smart guy. Yeah, I didn't know much about that, but that's cool, man. Who do you channel when you're lifting? Homer Simpson?
Well, actually, no, really, like honestly, no, just Ronnie Coleman. I'm just screaming the whole time. Woo! Yeah, woo! Line weight. No, like it's really weird being in the office with just mostly me and Luke now because there's not an opportunity to just like cut up.
Yeah.
Like we used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the annual days were few and far between.
Yeah, man. Those are good days though. We'd cut up a lot. I would cut up too much. I'm known for doing that though.
But I mean, we didn't get in the business that we were in to be serious.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I quit my job because it was too serious.
Yeah.
To do what we were doing.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. It's really cool getting to. I've kind of experienced this on a very micro level, but it's cool being your own boss, getting to do what you need to do or want to do, and that's another thing, man. I really respect that of you, especially since you weren't doing that at first, and then you're like, oh, what can I do? Like your ambition kind of took over, and you're like, what can I do to have my own baby, right? Mm-hmm. Your own business, and you did that like simultaneously while working a different job, like with Luke doing websites. So yeah. That's freaking cool, man. And I hope that will always go well for you and for Luke. And it's cool, man. How was that being a business owner during COVID? Obviously, we talked a little bit about it.
Yeah. It was stressful because, the thing that stressed me out the most was y'all, like, and being able to make sure that there was things there for y'all to do that we could pay y'all to do. And like that was a level of stress that I had never experienced before, because it's like, there's people that I was responsible for their livelihoods. And so that was a level of stress that I had never experienced before that was very real and very sobering for the first little bit of, the scare of when everything was so up in the air with, the lockdowns and, what is this, and people didn't really have a good grasp of what was actually going on.
Yeah, nobody did. This was just wild. Such a crazy time.
People wearing snorkels and freaking saran wrap to the grocery store.
I know, dude. I remember, it's so funny, kind of during the middle of that, before the grocery stores actually started going under, like, did they close? No, they didn't close down, did they? Mm-mm. Yeah, so the time where it was like, remember when everybody was buying up all the toilet paper? That's a crazy, I haven't thought of that in a minute. Remember we went to the store, Daniel and I. And
there's some people that probably have like the biggest regrets in the world. They're like looking at this mountains of toilet paper they have, and they're like,
I hope so.
Why?
I hope so. Why? I hope that the people who bought the toilet paper are like...
Feel bad?
Yeah, feel bad and feel dumb. But I remember going to the store with Daniel, and we were like kind of learning about it as everybody else was, and you reading articles and stuff. And it was... some lady in the line, like either right behind us or right next to us, was like, oh man, I just got back from a cruise that went to like, I think it went to like a couple of the Asian countries, and we were like, me and Daniel looked at each other, we were like, no.
I remember you telling me this, actually.
Are we gonna get sick? It was crazy. And she was like, yeah, a lot of them were scared, a lot of them stayed home, but I came to the store, we needed groceries. And I was like, okay, lady. It was funny though, but it's just a lot to reflect on, man. I remember I just remember everything being closed and just how sad it was for a while.
Yeah. Just
a sadness, and like I remember you and Luke were like early advocates for just take care of yourself and you'll be fine. Like which is freaking the 100% truth,
Yeah.
And then good thing, like, I thankfully don't know many people who aren't taking care of themselves or like super crazy with their health and like in a negative way. And so everybody I knew and loved and know and love were, we're safe and good, but just a weird time, Yeah,
absolutely. It's hard. It's going to be one of those things that like our generation is going to look back on and be like, we acted like that because of what?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to look back on this 10 years from now and see where we are and how far we've come and what we've learned from how we acted.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. Dude, let's do some, man, what were some of we used to die in the office all the time. There were some impressions that you did that I could just not believe. Man, I can't even remember them. I'm all like trying to rave about them, and then I can't even remember the ones. I know you did a good Arnold. You did a good Homer Simpson. You did a good, damn it, Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
Hank Hill.
That was probably the thing that, like, I remember, like, one of the first days in the office, and you were like, Daniel was talking about impressions, and you're like, man, you can do impressions? Yeah, he's like, yeah, you can do, like, Hank Hill really well. And, like, show me Hank Hill, like, right now. And I just went, whoa. You reacted just like that.
Dude, it's so impressive when somebody can sound just like another person. I love that, man.
What are y'all boys doing up? It's 11.
Oh my gosh, dude. That was like, we used to crack up in the office all the time, man. That was such fun memories right there.
What? Yeah.
I wanted to start this podcast off by saying, hey, is that Herbert that just showed up? Herbert the pervert from Family Guy? How you doing, Herbert?
Sensational.
I can't even.
Some would say that I'm just super.
I'm going to blow these people's eardrums out. They're going to be like, ah!
Oh, God, yeah.
That's so funny. No, that's funny.
We'll just stay back a little more.
Man.
Just scooch back just a smidgen.
Dude, I can't even keep it up. I was going to try to do it, but I knew I was just going to laugh.
No, that's... You got some good ones, too, man.
I'm not good at impressions. I was just always cutting up.
Yeah. Well, you got the deep voice down.
Yeah. I got the deepest voice in Texas.
You really should.
Yeah.
You should get on like a late night R&B slow jams radio station and be the.
You were listening to.
We got another one for you, right?
Man, have you ever considered doing like stand-up comedy or any sort of like sketch comedy work?
I had a lot of people tell me in my younger days that they thought that like I should do that because I would just say things.
Yeah.
Just say things. But I've never really, like, because being spontaneously funny or humorous is not the same as being a good stand-up comic.
True.
It's like there's preparation, time, all those things that you're putting into an act that you're practicing, and then also having the bravery to get up and show to a bunch of strangers and the confidence to be like, hey, that really is funny.
Yeah, man. I was actually listening to a podcast today with a comedian talking, and he said that he was have you ever heard of Chris DiStefano?
Oh, yeah.
So he was saying he was a physical therapist. He got his doctorate in physical therapy, and he was working at a school with like like handicapped children, right? Giving them physical therapy and stuff.
Was this the guy that was on recently, and he was with Tom Segura, and he was talking about all the steroids he took in college playing Division III basketball?
Yep. That's him. Dude, he's one of the funniest guys ever, man. He just doesn't give a crap. But he's also a nice guy. He seems like a super nice guy. But he was saying that like he took a stand-up class, and the teacher was like, letting them do whatever. They got their stage time, but it was only in front of their own class.
Yeah.
And then the owner of the club, a New York club, walked in. The owner of the club that they were able to do the class, the school in, came up and he was like, listen, guys, I'm not trying to scare you off. I don't care what you do, but none of you are going to make it. Just statistically, none of you guys are going to make it in entertainment. He's like, you got to work hard at this like you do with like basketball, right? Like the guys in the NBA, they're not playing the games and then going home and resting and resting until the next game. They're practicing the next day. They're in the gym the next day, every single day leading up to that. And then they're playing again, and they're performing at the peak of their level, And so he was like, man, like that's so true. I got to do that. And he had a basketball mindset already coming from college ball. And so he knew like kind of what that meant. And so it was just a good perspective. Like it really makes you think, like, for me, because that's kind of my passion is like making people laugh. And I always say, I don't know whether that's in stand-up comedy, obviously I've never done it, or sketch comedy, or
you should get a set together, man.
This dude, I know it's like I work on it. I do work on it, like very small, but I don't ever put the time and effort that I need to in order not to embarrass myself. And like I think
Well, that's the thing. You have to be
You have to be okay with
willing.
it.
You have to be willing to embarrass yourself
Yeah.
because that's one of those things. It's just like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Every good comic has had a bad set
Mm-hmm.
and been booed.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when they're starting out. Like
Yeah.
you listen to any of the, except for like maybe Dave Chappelle. He's just crazy. He's on a different level. But I'm pretty sure he started when he was like 15, bro.
Yeah.
15 years old, and that's so nuts. But yeah, man. So, and that's one other thing is like, I honestly feel like I'd be totally fine with getting booed if I know what the end goal is. Like, but also, according to every comedian you ever hear, they're like, it's a different kind of pain hearing the crowd boo you off the stage, you know? So
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
I don't have anxiety anymore, but that would give me anxiety.
yeah, man. So we'll see. I really want to do it. We'll see. I think I'm going to. Like, I don't think I'm going to. I know I'm going to do it. It's just a matter of setting a date on the calendar and figuring it out.
Well, and you have the aptitude and you have the material because you're just a naturally funny person.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, we got a lot of laughs, man. Man, laughing is my favorite thing to do in the world. I can't even begin to explain it.
Heck, when I walked in the door, like we probably just all said just funny things to each other, like immediately, and that's all we did was just laugh at each other the first like 5 minutes I was here.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about the office environment in Marble Falls is that like at first it was quiet, right? Because that's just kind of what you guys were used to, and then we kind of started getting more jokes thrown around and a little more cracking up, and all of a sudden like everybody was making jokes. It wasn't just me or just Daniel. It was like everybody, and it was fun. It was a cool environment, you know.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. Matt, you got anything else to say about your journey into fitness and health and your experiences with psilocybin? And
no, I mean that part is very much a sidecar or just very ancillary to the change in mindset to basic fitness routine and diet.
Yeah.
I'd say that anyone that feels like they're struggling with weight or with, anxiety or depression, the best thing you can do is just go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Just go for a walk. Walk until you're tired. That's the best first step is starting to take steps.
Yeah, that's good.
So
it's really good.
That's what I would end on. I would just say that if you're going to start something, start easy and be consistent.
Yeah, consistency is key.
It's very true.
Matt, I thank you for coming, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad. So just for the listener, but Matt, I wanted him to come on a couple weeks ago, but he was like, no, I'm not coming on until I hit my goal with my weight. And obviously that's happened. Obviously you've hit the point to where you're like, okay,
I'm
goal. Comfortable. Yeah.
There's there is like when you're in that mindset, there is no like actual goal other than end goal. There's multiple goals along the way, along the journey, but there's no end in sight.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's a race that never ends.
Right. Yeah. So you hit that goal you wanted before you could come on the podcast.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There's no end goal, because if you have an end goal, then you're just going to go back to your old ways after you hit the goal. So no, that's awesome, man. I really hope that whoever listens to this needs to hear it, and we'll post, if you're really down, I'll put it on the IG, the page of the before and afters of you.
Okay.
Before, yeah, because it's a big change, man. Not only physically, but you're mentally, and you're just, yeah, everything. It's freaking amazing. I love it. I can't explain to people how much that it means to me, like as a friend, that you did that for yourself. You know what I mean?
Thanks, brother.
It fills me with joy, and I love it. It motivates the hell out of me, man.
Well, let's get it. Come on.
Let's do it right now.
All right, push-ups.
All right, Matt. Dude, social media. You got social media? Website? Business? Shout out everything, dude.
So if you're in the need for any type of media for a internal, external space, austin360photography.com. We take care of residential, commercial real estate. We work with hospitals, we work with apartment complexes, we work with business storefronts. If you have a space that needs to be photographed or given a virtual tour to let your customers experience it without actually being there, give us a call. We can take care of you.
And that's aerial photography and regular photography, baby. He does
That is
drone work
correct.
too.
That's right.
Awesome, man. What about your social media? Like your
So-
personal or your business?
So you
or
can hit me
whatever?
up on Instagram at Matt W, MattDoubyoo. The other one was taken, so I had to choose something else.
The other one was taken. That's dope, man. Thank you so much for coming, man. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Aaron.
And I'm so proud of you, man. Proud of you. Thanks
Proud of you, brother.
Thanks for the whiskey, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cheers.
Have a
Bye,
good night.
everybody.